Is it a chocolate lab?
No, I'll get her for you.
Well, your camera's not working, so.
It's really cute dog.
Is it?
Really cute.
Can we actually call you and then have them?
No, actually, the way it states is, if I remember it, you actually call the meeting to order after you do all the introductions.
Okay, so we're gonna start
This
with
is Coco.
people on.
Oh, I gotta turn my monitor on. Oops.
Oh, hi, Coco. Oh, it's a husky.
She's a Huskador.
We'll start
So
with you.
she's part Husky and part Labrador. But she doesn't attack my cats, so that's the best part.
Nice. Okay,
Yes, very nice.
dog is yourself. Okay, go ahead. Start introducing with yourself, Deb.
Deb Tanguay, town clerk, town bookkeeper.
David Barlow, Town Treasurer.
Bill Krajewski, Town Assessor.
Bill Marquette, Select Board.
Scott Breyer, Select Board.
Ned Connell, Town Administrator. Asian Sandville Planning Commission.
Pretty much planning commission.
And Marlo Sheriff.
Okay. I would like to call December 20th.
Mr. Jones.
Good. He's grabbing a chair for you. No, it's not required.
Give it to Izzy first.
So we're just getting ready to call the meeting for, would you like to identify yourself?
Dave Yell.
Okay, I'd like to call Monday, December 20th, 2021 meeting to order at 6:03 p.m. Do you have any changes or additions to the agenda?
I'd like to move for an immediate executive session to discuss why the NEMC proposal wasn't presented to me for over 12 business days. That proposal was a 67% increase. And I also have two other personnel matters I want to discuss. And I would like to request that Dave Barlow be involved in all three discussions.
What?
Do that right off. So we're gonna
Just the board.
move number 11 to number 2A.
I have one thing as treasurer to add, if we could. At some point in the meeting, it doesn't need, certainly it's not executive session, it's open session. I need to have a discussion about NEMRIC and administrator permissions and get the board's approval on something related to that. Over.
Okay, we can add that under other, yeah, 8E. Are there any other changes or addition to the agenda? Okay. So the board is gonna go into executive session 1 VSA /3133, the appointment or employment.
So we got two different ones, three.
First one, I want to discuss why that was hidden from me for over 12 business days. And the other two were personnel issues. I want Dave Barlow involved in all three discussions. The first one is a former lister.
Okay, I'm trying to decide to even do that in executive session. Well, that is a contract though, right? That is contract, so
What's that?
the first one. I was trying to figure out if
The
it's
proposal.
executive session doable legally.
I want to discuss why that information was not presented to me as a selectman for the town of Coventry for over 12 business days, 67% increase.
Okay, that's fine, I'm just,
It wasn't presented to any of us, but yeah, we can discuss it.
I'm just trying to put it into how we go into executive session, that's what I'm saying.
So how do we do it?
So it's contractual, we have to figure out which one's the contractual one, but.
The contractual one is their proposal. We should not, I would recommend not doing that in the executive session. We should discuss it within NEMC here. And then the personnel ones, you know, it's
We
3-1,
could probably
3-3.
discuss the personnel.
We'll do the three personnel
Yep,
for the reasons, the first one I
So
stated.
that we can, yeah.
And I'd like David Barlow as a former lister to be involved in, especially the first one.
okay. See, we don't have to have three separate personnel.
We can do 'em all.
We can do them all in one.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
all right. So I guess we're gonna ask.
So the way I'm gonna say, David Barlow, do you have your cell phone? Or home phone?
Yes, over.
Okay, easiest way for us is just go upstairs.
Okay. All right, yeah, we'll leave.
Okay, thank you.
We'll be back.
How long do you need?
I was just here to answer any questions you guys have, but I unfortunately cannot. I don't know how long this is gonna take, but I can't.
This shouldn't be like 5 or 10 minutes. you think?
All right, fine.
Yeah, but you're probably on the schedule.
I just have animals for the evening.
Yeah.
Husband has, so.
Oh.
I don't. need some- Yeah.
And I don't blame you.
That's fine.
Second session should be after.
How's it going then?
It's going, okay.
Can you guys hear me? I can't hear you.
I can hear you, David, but I can't hear them.
Yeah, I think the session's muted. or something.
So it was not unmuted.
Okay,
Oh, Scott, go over what you just went through, because they didn't hear a thing and it wasn't recorded, so.
Oh, so we came out of executive session, no decisions have been made at this time. There'll be further discussion at some point. Then I offered up number 3, public comment. Does anyone have any public comment? With no public comment, we're going to move on to number 4, review of the draft 23 budget. And Mr. Barlow piped up a little and
It's because you couldn't hear us. You can hear us now, right?
okay, say again.
Can you hear us now, David? You were able to?
I can.
Okay. Wow.
we've gone through, we've gotten lost.
Oh, I could. I do.
I guess, good chair.
Oh, I got it. Excellent.
What's this? Not at the top. That's the numbers in there. That's the actual. Yeah, but what's it?
Pretty, as we were saying, pretty.
That's a, that's type.
All this, like, this is good, this is bad,
I can tell on it.
this might be okay.
And I think your numbers are off.
Okay.
Line 9, the one you're on now, is $7,000. What actuals?
Those are what Dave, all Dave,
And $38 for waste to estate fees.
What line are we at?
I got a feeling you have those swapped.
yes,
It was 8 and 9.
yes. it was,
Rose 8 and 9, Barrel, David Barrel, you're not sharing the screen yet either.
Let me,
Don't close it.
all right, I'll fix that.
Hang on. You're not sharing.
No, I know, I'm still trying to.
We got it pretty far last time through here.
We went through the whole thing, and then there were some notes.
Yeah,
I didn't make the notes. So,
let me get around to the notes. I have the notes right here. We'll get down to them. There was a question about unemployment insurance. And unemployment insurance, we had a fictitious number here, I think it was $399 or $400. Let's comment here, unemployment insurance is calculated at 1% of payroll. So our payroll is 99% higher than that, that's what it is, and I wrote down the up a little bit.
Page 2, bottom row. Page 2.
Yeah, that would be page 2, sorry.
So I don't understand why it was so cheap for years and all of a sudden it jumped to 866. 666.
Debits.
No,
Oh, so
Dave-
that unemployment, that was because you had somebody that pulled unemployment. So with municipalities, Deb, correct me if I'm not saying it right. With municipalities, normally with a straight boiler that's top right, is we pay into unemployment every week or every quarter, however it works. Municipalities don't pay into that, so unless somebody pulls unemployment, we don't pay unemployment. You end up having someone that pulled unemployment, that's where that is. That was the
So-
previous year, that wasn't this year.
Yes, I kind of get the gist of probably where that number comes from. And I think moving forward, be nice to be made aware that we are being drawn on.
We don't have any say, oh, yeah, you could say, we get a letter, right, Deb? We must get a
So
letter.
Deb, how does that work with unemployment?
I could say it's time to pick garbage.
No, you had it exactly right. Businesses, they have to pay a quarterly fee up to a certain percentage of the wages. Municipalities, they don't belong in that pool, so basically whoever draws, the municipalities have to go ahead and pay back. And what happens is there is a report that is sent. I know for businesses, it's sent on a monthly basis as far as who has drawn, how much they have drawn. David may be able to answer this question more, as he would end up receiving these reports, if we may still receive them on a monthly basis, or maybe it's quarterly for the town. I know at the school, I receive them every single month.
The one you had the idea on, were they working for you and then took unemployed, did they go somewhere else and then went,
Yeah, I
they
don't,
got laid off?
I don't know how much we should discuss it publicly,
No, I know.
but I know what's
Yeah.
going on. But I didn't know that we were being drawn on. I used to be made aware of that.
Does that letter go to you, Deb? for the treasurer?
No,
Goes to
it
the,
probably goes to David as treasurer, I would assume.
We're talking about something to do with unemployment. I'm sorry, I missed
Yeah.
the,
Yes,
when we
Department
get
of
drawn
Labor.
on unemployment,
Yeah, so the board should know, right?
when we get drawn against on unemployment, you get those notifications?
yeah, there hasn't been one in years, though.
Okay,
Okay.
The last one was the snow shovel guy. That was back in Adam's day,
And that would have been. what's on-
2018.
So is that actual on the fiscal year 2021, correct then?
Hang on.
Can't be for, I mean, you couldn't have drawn that much, you only,
No,
probably only made 500 a winner.
it should be 0.
Okay, so that one's actually 0.
I think you've had some slip numbers there.
Okay,
So let me just double check line 260 unemployment. Yeah, 0.
0 for 21,
Yeah,
okay.
Well, no, I'm sorry. If you're looking at, what number are you looking at?
so it was 260 for actual for fiscal year 21 budget.
Yeah,
If you got those lines labeled right, I think.
These are from Amanda.
Because we're in the current fiscal year 22, that's the as of actual
Yeah.
November 30th.
The last two columns are,
So it was the 21 budget that we're looking at, David, or 21 actuals.
mhm.
So it's the 246.26 number? Or is it the
260.
yeah, bottom of page 2.
Oh, way over here?
Yeah, that's the item number. So that's fine. I'm gonna get.
Yeah, those are all 0 and 21.
All zeros, okay.
All right.
So that's supposed to be 0 on that actual unemployment line for 21.
I'll fix that in the master copy.
So what are we going with? The 1650?
The,
1650 is what the VLCT is recommended.
so that's a recommended VLCT
Yeah.
number for budgeting. I say budgeting.
Continuing down,
Can we, before we head on, I do have something else on that page, couple things to do with salary.
Yeah.
okay,
If we look at the dog warden,
okay,
there's a modest increase there. But I looked back over time, we've never given her a raise since we hired her back in 2018. And I would propose that we ought to catch up a bit. And based on discussions with Deb about dog licensing and our increased levels of enforcement and use of the dog officer or the animal control officer, we should, and if she had been getting regular raises like the rest of us, she would be at 125 a month now and not 100. So what I would propose is to make that budget for 125 a month, which would make that 1,500, vice 1270, 80.
Okay.
Okay, let's do that.
okay.
So what did we discuss when she came in this summer? Just the fact that she was hiring another person?
That was the one-time payment for the dog.
Yeah, I can tell you exactly because I looked that up today. You guys approved a one-time appropriation of $75 to help her build or rebuild a kennel. And she also notified you that she was hiring or had an additional employee. But she has not requested additional reimbursement, but I ran the numbers based on raises and 125 seems to be the right number. A month instead of 100. And thus my request to make that 1,500 instead of what it currently is,
1270,
1270 and 80 cents. And I have one more. The moderator position, the line right below, that that has been at $100 a month for, as far as I can tell, for a long, long time. Can't tell you when that became that. So it's been a long time. And we're asking more of the moderator now, especially when we go to the 3 meeting information meeting format like we did last year, and it's possible this year, that I would propose to catch up the moderator position a bit and make that 150 a year versus the 100 a year.
Okay.
And again, that's, I can't really base that on raises over time. It's just kind of a gut. We're asking more. We ought to pay a little more. So instead of 105.90, I'd recommend making that 150. And that's what I had. Thanks. Over.
Thank you.
Although I guess I think, Phil, you had a question about emergency management director as well. Or we looked at that.
They were not, the select board and emergency management director stipends were not in there, and Deb emailed and said that she found they were part of payroll, which I was gonna ask. I was curious on why they were part of payroll. The stipends, right?
They are what you guys want to tell me they are. So, in other words,
That's all that question was I did the warrant for the stipends that Deb did, and saw the select board and EMD were not
they
on.
can,
Found that they were a part of payroll, so they were done differently, so she didn't catch them in the stipend part,
So,
which is normal.
seeing how you got to that subject, that's the one we approved a raise for you last week, though.
No, that's the E91.
The what?
That was 91 address coordinator.
All right. So I'd just like to bring up some of the comments you and David made about that and the difficulties of tracking time, where you're working a little bit here and working a little bit there. Goes in, why I'm bringing that up, maybe in the future, but I mean, I think I've proven myself over the years, and with my salary, for me to write out a time card, I could be in and out of my house 10 times on a weekend, deciding whether I'm going to call in the road crew. And it's just brutal to try to do it. I tried tracking it for a couple weeks, and I was at like 50 hours. You know, like John had 68 hours last week, I think. I might be speaking wrong on that one. But I mean, we're salaried. I just don't see, you know, like I got John doing that because I try to keep him at 40 hours. That's what I've always done with those guys. So like this week, if we're caught up Wednesday, you know, I want to get him out of there. If he's coming in Christmas Day to work on freezing rain, I don't want him at 50 hours on Thursday if I don't need to. If we need to, we'll work all the hours you want. But do you see what I'm trying to get at as far as the difficulty with the timesheet?
No, I
And
understand.
then run up to the garage and I forget half the stuff I did. I'd like to let that go for now. Down the road, if you feel it, I'll try to monitor myself a little bit better.
That's okay, but that's an exception that all other employees of the town of Coventry will be available to. Because that's part of personnel policy is submit timesheets for stuff. And there are no salary positions here.
So it is not in the personnel policy for timesheets. That's why I have not pushed it.
Okay, all right.
I didn't think there was, when I looked at the minutes, you had mentioned the employee policy and that we don't even, that is a separate thing under the personnel policy, I believe, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so that's what I thought you were talking about. I thought you were talking about something. I don't know, how do you guys feel about it?
The timesheet.
I did too big an exception for me, just out of being here for so long.
I have always said this about salaried employees is I feel as long as the work's getting done. However, I also am going on that it's been pushed by others on getting a timesheet from others. So
I'll try to monitor it a little better. I've always had Johns and any of my full-time workers write down just so I can monitor their hours as I'm progressing through the week, especially in the winter. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
If I see sunshine for Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, if I see snow for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday,
See you later, boys.
see you, get out of here, get some rest. And as far as it goes, when I put in my work order for Zach, who's hourly now, that's easy math, you just divide it by his rate. So you have that time sheet, I can
Yeah.
start bringing John's in if you want, or I can just send a picture.
Okay.
You ain't getting cheated.
We got off subject a little bit on that one.
Yeah, well, you got into that 911 thing, and I just
Yeah.
remember those.
Yeah, no,
comments
that's fine.
last week.
Yep. No, I get it. So, no, I was answering David Barlow's question. I was,
So do we want to make those stipends that Phil was mentioning stipends, or which they are stipends?
that's what I thought,
And-
and Deb ran away.
It's gonna happen.
So is there, we put them on line item?
So I guess the question that I was having is how the select board, let's just stick with the select board, because they'll gonna be in, I hate talking about things that I'm part of, but how are they put on payroll and not ran as a normal stipend, I guess? Was there a reason for that? And then I'm not saying this time, I'm meaning,
Yeah,
I know it's ran as payroll in the past because I've gotten it, so.
I don't really know the history of that. It was like that when I got payroll. I can tell you that what the impact will be for you now. A stipend, we're not going to do any withholdings on, so you're just going to get a lump sum. And then it'll be up to you to manage whatever tax consequences there are. For an employee already, let's say in David's case where he's in Veemers as a town employee, I'd say that's probably not in his best interest to receive that as a stipend because it won't be subject to Veemers. I mean, it's up to him. I mean, it's up to you, David, but I think we ought to offer as an employer, whatever the option that best meets the needs of the individual person that we're.
So from a town and how it's being paid standpoint, it's just a matter of making sure the person that's getting it is.
Why would it be a negative to me to take it under FEMA's?
Because you won't get your.
No, I mean, because you won't get Veemers.
You won't
like,
get for that
Pull it
1,000.
outside of that. And it's up to you whether that's negative or not. It may not be a negative to you.
I think I asked that question once. So take the tax collector position, we're paying her through a payroll check. Are we paying Beamers on that, retirement through that? And I thought.
Not anymore, not
Yeah.
anymore, because she doesn't meet the hourly requirements. You have to be 24 hours a week or greater.
Okay, so it would have been just when she was an appointed collector.
Well, it was when her hours were at 30 hours as an assessor. So she was an assessor at 30 hours, then she was in Beamers and then other compensation typically. And I remember we discussed at the time, typically most towns include all employee compensation within Beamers. Otherwise you'd need a policy to keep it separate, and that gets messy.
Why wouldn't I want more? I don't get it. Why wouldn't I want more income?
It depends where you want the income, right? If you want it right now, then you want a stipend that's not subject to Beamers. If you want it in your retirement, then you probably do want it subject to Beamers.
Oh, I thought that's what you were doing.
Well, that's how it's been done. It's been done, the select board stipends come out of payroll, and I threw the question out last week when the warrant came through for all the other stipends. The select board and the EMD were not in that stipend list. And Deb was like, huh? So she then found that it was run through payroll the last time. That was where that question came from, that he brought up. I don't know how deep into it we need to get to it. It's just, it needs to be run however it needs to be run. I don't know what we
Just
should
separate
do.
it.
Keep it separate?
Yeah. I'm good for that. If everybody
Do
else-
them
Well,
as straight stipends.
Wouldn't you think that the select board would all be paid the same way?
That was my, yeah.
I mean, it doesn't matter to me, but I'm just thinking,
I have a feeling that it got changed for that, was for when he became on as.
But if
select
it makes
board.
it better for him, then he should get paid for control.
Right, and I think.
No, that's all right, because
But
I'll go back to what I was saying with the tax collector position. I think at one time we were paying that out of payroll, right, David?
And it still does.
Those
Oh, it
fees.
does. Yeah, the delinquent tax collectors paid out. the
And I think it was done because she was at 30 hours a week, so all, like David said, all other compensation came out.
But
of
it's
it.
really, you're
It
not
just
really,
didn't change.
but the select board, he's not really an employee being the select board, that should really should
No,
be.
and
like
that
payroll.
would
You're
that'd
not
be
an
the way I would
employee.
look at
You
it.
should be like, I don't work for the town, so if I get paid to be the select board, I'm just getting a stipend, boom. I'm not getting taxes taken out of it, and it's a separate job, so it really probably should be just a stipend. You shouldn't get your retirement on that
Take-
part, it's a different job.
Yeah, I
It's
think,
not,
I think,
It's
it's
not-
I think it's better for everybody if it's separated.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just paid as a stipend.
So I guess that's the answer, is those are paid as stipends.
Okay, Roger,
so
we'll do that. Over.
changes on that, okay.
Have those been paid this year?
Not yet. That's why I brought it up, because those stipends got paid last week.
They did.
The warrant was signed. I don't think you've gotten the check yet.
Okay.
They might have gotten mailed out today.
Today,
In this
Is
budget,
he like, I didn't see it?
on page 3, legal services. Are we thinking we possibly should raise that amount for this coming year? Is that for Brian?
That's for Brian and anyone else we need help with.
I'm anticipating,
We have San Souci stuff that's gonna come back. That'll probably start.
That's gonna be. So how's that been working, the appraisal stuff and all that? Has he been charging separately?
That should be coming out or reappraisal. funds. So I think we're-
but the legal services wouldn't.
Yes. it should.
For reappraisal and for
For the
that stuff,
reappraisal.
yeah.
It will come out of that
It should,
fund.
yeah.
Oh, so
Is
then
that
legal-
what's happening, Deb?
back when we were going through the reappraisal, yes, those legal expenses were coming from the reappraisal fund, but any that comes through has basically general matters, which he may have some items pertaining to some of that. No, it's just coming out of the regular legal
I would
category.
assume what we're going through right now would be coming out of that reappraisal too, wouldn't it?
Actually, they should be paying, the Dinsey should be paying some of it. not-
Some of it, but it would be still a
It
line
would
item
still
out of
be
that.
out of that, yes.
Okay, then that's fine, that
Yeah, I
number is
think
fine.
it- yeah,
All right. That's where it's going.
that's all a drastic increase on that.
Mhm. Do you have any other notes on this page?
Yes, the equipment, I changed to 2,000. We have some older chairs, some older desks, some older tables, computers. I jumped that to 2,000, and we can use ARPA funds here. You can't see that note underneath the.
Yep.
I think if I can move that up a little bit, we can use ARPA funds there, so, but we should have it in as a line item in the budget.
Here for like,
Off the equipment and furniture.
ARPA funds.
It's one place to use it.
So we keep talking about ARPA funds for this, that, and the other thing.
We need to come up with.
We don't have, we haven't even come up
We
with
don't
a
have a plan.
plan at all on that.
We have till the end of June though, right, July?
Yes, we do.
Dave, you had mentioned loss of income as one.
Yes, and I haven't had time yet to run the numbers on that. It's fairly complex is my excuse, but I plan to get on that as soon as I can.
Would it be better to go with just a few larger projects and use up that money, given the fact we have so much money?
It's better for my sanity, yes. There's a lot of, it's federal accounting practices involved
Yeah, that's
and
why-
all that goes with that. So, yeah, it's,
So to use it for $500
things,
here
it's
is a
not
pain
worth
in
it.
the butt,
Yeah.
but to use it for $50,000 projects, that's
Yeah.
where you want to go with it.
That would be my
Yes.
thought.
But one key thing with ARPA, because it's federal dollars, Davis Bacon wages and all that other crap that comes along with it. Yes.
Oh, yeah. So if we have a contract, say I want to do lane roads, so if we did that, we'd have to abide by that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
So it'd basically go back to like having a TAP grant instead of local roads.
right.
correct.
Okay, anything else on this page?
Actually,
What'd we do on legal?
Left.
We left it.
nothing.
Yeah, so I was gonna say we're under on both years.
Yeah.
anyway.
Right, moving on to page 4, the top, which is the assessors. We'll move that up a little higher.
So right now, I think the contract's 15,100.
It's 15, it's in the third column, 15,000.
The assessor clerk is 10, so we're at 20, so we're in, see, this is,
Yeah.
we're going 25, we got it up 30. Okay,
So that's jumping 50%.
no, because you don't have the salary here, we're at 10, so right now it's kind of $5,000 more in a sense, 6,000. We can,
He's still in
we'll,
here.
yeah, we'll talk to him
Yeah.
tonight and we'll figure it out as we go.
Over
Is
here.
that here or is that?
Or is that a second?
That's at this point.
Yeah, at this point, so do we want to?
Bill, you got the floor?
Hey, Bill.
Hey, how you doing?
Good, thanks for being patient with us this evening, and we've come up to your line, so let's, why don't you talk to us a little bit?
Okay. Let me try to explain to you what this is about. I think the most important thing is kind of to start back a little ways. When we signed our first contract with you, we signed that contract and we had an assessing clerk for, 25 hours a week. I don't remember what it was, half-time, I think, maybe even more than that. I can't remember. And I know that, you cut that back. You made a decision that you were just going to go to 8 hours a week. And that was the decision you made. But when that was done, that put a lot more load on our back than we expected there to be. We thought a lot of the functions that Kate was handling at the time, that in fact she'd be still handling them. And I know we were supportive of even cutting her back to, I think, by a day or something. I can't remember exactly yet. The point very simply is that at the moment, we do a lot more than what our original contract was all about, or at least we spend more time involved, not more in terms of we're supposed to take care of all the assessing functions, and that's what we do. But I wasn't going to come back to you and say, gee, we're not being paid fairly here because the functions changed, because you've changed the makeup of the office. So a contract's a contract and you live through that. And that's fine. So now we come to a new contract at this point. Now, I have to tell you, I'm confused by what occurred here. In my career, I've always felt as though a department makes a proposed budget, and either an administrator or a manager reviews it with him and says, I either support this or I don't support this. I didn't know it was going to go right to you. I'm a little taken back by it. The process is generally different wherever I've been for whatever reason. So we had talked to the town originally about whether they wanted to move Kate make her a full-time employee of our company, and if it was advantageous to the town to take her off of the payroll. I wasn't sure what FICA and whether there was I don't know what else was involved in cost. I know there was a $10,000 salary at least out there. And I don't know if there are other costs involved when an employee makes a certain, less than a certain amount. They may not have deductions like others. I don't want to go someplace where I don't belong, but we proposed that. Ned said he was not interested in it. And then sometime in the time between when he said that and before he submitted his budget, I guess minds were changed. So as far as I was concerned, we were making a proposal to the town manager. I half expected it to be discussed, but it wasn't. And it sits in front of you and I'm not trying to throw anybody under the bus here. I'm just confused sometimes by what went on. We're including Kate's salary in there. We're also trying to make up for what we believe has been a greater function than we thought. I'll give you a perfect example of that, and that is what we just went through with News Vermont, having to dig back and find all of these materials and everything. I mean, we put extra hours in, extra time in, had to come into the office, had to do this. We often get telephone calls. Deb will pass a message along to us from a taxpayer who's called, and we do that. And it's part of what we do. And sometimes, you know, we're sitting in an office in Hardwick or in Concord, and we get a call or we check an email, and we do it. That's why I know there was some discussion about whether, you know, we're doing other clients' work while we're in Coventry. The answer to that, yeah, I'm going to be honest with you. That's the way it happens. Sometimes we do. Generally speaking, it's only a few minutes or whatever, because you're just making a telephone call and sending along an email to whatever. But that's the way we sort of do business, and it works both ways. When we're on other client sites, we're working on Coventry stuff, whether it's a current use that comes through that the state wants a return on immediately, whether it's some sort of withdrawal, whatever it might be, a request for information. This is kind of what you brought us in. So there was an email that went around just recently saying something about, gee, you only work 8 hours a month. We work a lot more than 8 hours a month. We really do. And it's dependent. Remember, we also go out and do all the, you don't have permits, but we do all the property checks, and we do a lot of them. We're trying to change the way your office ran in the past, and trying to keep you from getting into CLA or that sort of problems by making sure we're checking property at all times. We have a lot of property in town that might have been unfinished or it was in tough shape. We sort of, in essence, do a bit of a drive around at different properties, just taking a look, trying to keep everything as up to date as we possibly can. I think that's what we agreed to when we agreed to this contract. So this contract is not only putting, obviously, putting Kate under, you know, our control as an employee. If that makes sense to you, if it doesn't make sense to you, then please just take the $10,000 back out of the contract and put it back into her assessing salary clerk line, and we can move on from there. I mean, I don't think it changes things too much, but that was, I thought that was an intention. All right, I think I probably said enough. That's why we made the proposal that we did, is to continue to do things. I think it's important to remember that I know this is higher than the last 2 years, or last year actually, but it's still a whole lot lower than before you had us in there. You're getting a better deal than you used to in the past, and I'd like to think that you're getting a better job done at the same time.
So in your proposal, Bill.
Yep.
In your proposal, don't you still have Kate quoted for 8 hours? So
Say that again, I'm sorry.
in your proposal, don't you have a line item under there for clerical for 8 hours a week, which is what we're.
Yes, that's what that's what I've added. That's sort of the add into this contract, is just that.
We're
In
already,
terms of an additional,
we're already paying 8 hours a week, though.
you can keep it then as your $10,000 if you want to. That's perfect.
I'm
I just
not,
thought the town wanted to change.
no, I'm just trying, I'm not arguing with you. I was very happy with your frankness on the whole thing. I just, I thought I saw in your proposal, which I don't have in front of me, that it was the same amount of time that we.
It is, David. It
Yeah.
is, David. I'm sorry, I didn't answer that right. Yeah, it's exact same hours.
Yeah.
So is it, in your new proposed contract, Bill, is it, give or take, like if there's nothing going on, is it possible someone would only be here for 2 hours and then other times 16 hours? Or is it pretty much 8 hours? If there's nothing to do, they'll do other towns' work, and then at other times when Coventry needs more, your office is gonna do 10 hours a week, or some hourly work for Coventry in a different location. I mean, just.
No, I get you. I get you. You have in our proposal in the second line, it says NEMC will staff a minimum of 2 half days per month. On those days, there might be things that we have to do. When Kate or whoever is sitting in that position in your office, they're doing carpentry work. They're not doing anything else. She's a clerical person. That's what they do. It's the same thing of it. They're in, we put her right currently in Concord 2 half days a week and in Burke 2 half days a week. She does nothing but work for that town at that point. There's always stuff to do, whether it's reorganizing cabinets. Most towns we go into, yours is included. We need to do a map changeover in the town to make the records adapt to the maps better into the new CAI. So there's a pretty big project to take place over the next couple of years. Doesn't change much of anything, except that it makes it easier for people looking at a map to actually find a card that belongs to that map.
I believe at this current time, the town of Coventry is contracted with your company through June of 2023.
We are through June of 2023. That's correct.
So we got 18 months to make a decision. Not for budgeting.
I don't think you can do.
So
It's
I'm
correct, not for budgeting, but.
right, but so I was just wondering, I mean, we really do appreciate the work you've done for the town, and we appreciate that, you know, everything's in order, and, you know, our grand list is valued correctly and everything looks really good, but at this point in time, just speaking for myself, not for the board, but I don't understand if we have a contract for another year and a half, why the town would be really excited to spend more money when you're getting the job done for us, unless you're telling us you're interested in breaking the contract and you don't want to do it anymore.
I'm not gonna break the contract. Please, I gotta go back to it again. I did this because it was requested. I did it because it was requested. I didn't just come out of the blue doing this. My understanding is that the town looked to change the employment status of a clerk, and I reacted to it. If you choose not to do it, I'm fine. I'm, like I say, I may not, you know, I may grind my teeth a little bit over the price, but it's a contract. I'm not going to break the contract. No, absolutely not. We enjoy working there, and I hope we reach an agreement again in the future. I wouldn't stop that.
We like having you. I mean, I think this has been a win-win for the town, and I'm really happy with the way that things have progressed over the last 2 or 3 years that I've been involved here. And, you know, we look forward to working with you.
Bill,
We're good.
can you hear me, Bill?
Yes, I can. Yeah.
You were requested for a proposal.
You know, it came to us as you know, I want to be, I'm not trying to say I'm trying to avoid answering the question, but I know my son just came to me and said, the town's interested in maybe moving Kate over into our employment. Maybe we should look forward to, or look into doing the contract or redoing the contract. So when we got the budget, I sent it at that point to Ned and said, this is what I propose as a replacement contract for it. And he sent me back an email and said, we're not interested in a new contract at this time. So I sort of dropped it. Well, in the interim, the only thing I can tell you is I guess Ned changed his mind and decided, well, okay, why don't you show me something and let's see what we've got here and whether this is working forward. And that's kind of where it comes from. Please, I'm not trying to throw anybody under a bus. I'm trying to tell you I was trying to react to what I thought the town was maybe considering.
Okay. Well, we appreciate you spending the time with us tonight, and we're going to review your proposal, and we'll reach back out to you. And again,
Not a problem, not a problem. And as I say, please, not any thought. We will finish the contract. I'm not gonna break the contract. I would never do that.
And this is Dave Barlow. Could I add just one thing about the research you guys had to do to answer the landfill data request? That's reimbursable. If we know, and let me send you an email with some information. If you can provide us, we can at least work something out on that, I'm pretty sure. Because the land, the lawyer, the legal team for the landfill that requests that information has some payment obligation based on what they asked for. So,
That'd be good. to say the
yeah,
least, 'cause
that's
this-
not a,
this
that's not a
is
just beat it
tomfoolery at
kind
its
of thing.
best.
So let me send you a note on that, Bill, and
Appreciate that. very
we'll
much
catch
so.
that up. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you.
Hey,
Over.
Bill,
Bill,
one
Very
last,
good.
Bill?
Yep, I
So
can.
let's go back to requested. Who requested that?
You don't have-
The request came through Kate. I assume that she spoke to either David or spoke to Ned. That's all I guess. She came to us and said, this is what they were looking for. So I came back. I believe Kate's an honest person. And I think she was just sort of saying, I think they're looking to change the way the format is. I can't tell you who Kate spoke to. And I just reacted with an email to the town manager thinking, well, if he tells me I'm out to lunch, then he'll tell me I'm out to lunch. And that's kind of the way it got left.
All right,
I
thank you.
spoke to Kate, the direction came from me at the direction of the board to pursue this contract to see how things could be rearranged.
all right, well, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Have a good evening. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
You too, Bill.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Okay. Moving down the budget, so at this time, I would think on this budget, I would say that we would leave the assessor's contract, whatever it is, what is it, 16,000 and leave,
No, it's whatever it should be.
Well, up until, so it's 15,600 for 23 according to the contract.
so
that we have
let's leave it
currently.
at 15,600 here, scribble it out.
Okay.
15,600.
15,600 for July 1, 22 and June 30th, 23.
Let's leave 10,000.
So the 10,000 doesn't equate if Case is busy as he's saying. David, what are we doing for raises for the other employees? Was it 5.6%? Is that equated into that? 5.9? Why don't we go that route? Just do the assessing clerk salary with a 5.9%
Increase.
increase.
That'll be 10,599.
Yeah, so that, that number is going to be in a different line, but we'll fix that later.
Okay,
You guys are bored with it though, right? Because no sense of making a change to something that's unbroken.
Yeah.
Right?
I guess the question,
And then
well, he dropped off. I guess I should have, he kind of answered it. I was gonna ask if there is 8 hours a week worth of work and kind of.
You said there is, yeah, the person who's here is only working on town.
Yeah.
That's our town employee, so.
So there's gonna be times. They will be perfect.
moving on to insurance.
Is there a note on workman's comp that wants?
Yeah, there is a note, that's what I'm trying to move this around. It was tabled to now, this new cost reflects GLT's that emailed me, our. Workers' comp should be 15, it's just below $15,000 for that fiscal year, and property casualty will be 31,000.
That came from
That's
VLCT.
came straight from the LCT.
And in the past, why is that only 1870? Was it in a different line item somewhere?
I can't explain why what that is, and why it was so much dramatically lower.
So we did have one claim, and it got hurt, because he was out for a couple months.
His claim, just his payments from the state just ended in the springtime.
So Deb, does workman's comp for a municipality work different than workman's comp for a business?
No, I believe it all works the same to my knowledge.
Mr. Barlow, why would we have $1,870 in the 20, in that column for 2020?
Why wasn't it split out? Yeah, I gotta look at the billing. To refresh my memory on that, but I think the billing comes through as one big number, so. But let me look at that.
Okay, so in essence, we're really only, well, if it was 35,000 before in 1870, so it's about 7,000. It's about 10,000.
So you're talking about.
So, well, I mean, I'm wondering where where,
With 1800, so
right,
Well,
where did we pay workman's comp before?
Just the one time of that I can think of.
Well, you have to pay it every year.
well, it-
Doesn't matter whether.
Oh, the
it's a
claim, oh, okay.
Doesn't
I
matter.
didn't
That's
know
an
if the claim,
insurance, it's an
I don't know
insurance.
if the
thing.
claim it made for such an increase.
No, it's not like unemployment where what they get is what we pay. That's why.
They bill us quarterly and it comes in at about, I want to say it's like 3,500 something or other
Per quarter.
per quarter. That's why it ends up being basically 7,500, 76 months, so 15,000 a year.
But then we should have a good number to use from prior years.
I can only give the numbers that the accounting system will give us, and this is what I had. I don't know why there isn't one there.
I don't know how it went from 1,870 to 15,000.
It definitely was never 1,800. It was always more than that, was it? Had to be.
Can't look, 'cause I know we have this-
yeah, so yeah, I'll make a note to look at the records on this going back. It's just, it's not something I've studied before, but I can pull the what we paid and why, and figure out why it went where it went.
Okay, so on the bill, we had this discussion last time, on the bill for the last warrants, we paid the SAT, workers' compensation coverage. That's what we're talking about, right?
Yeah.
$3,544.
Yeah, that's per quarter, so 7.
This is for, these are, yeah, quarter.
Yeah,
quarter.
so that'd be 14,000 and change. But I'm just wondering, it didn't used to be prior to this one year, it didn't used to be $300 a quarter. You know what I mean? We don't have
Right, you're talking about there's no other.
we don't have anything. And we've always paid it. That's it.
Right.
Carl's gonna look at that.
Yeah.
All right.
Zoom down.
Oh, I had on streetlights, Ned, can you, what's David? Gallup wants this question. I paid attention to the last two co-op bills. There's a separate streetlight bill. Does. And this is just out of my curiosity, because other people talk about lights recently, so. If the count is accurate. Eight, 12, 13 streetlights, does that sound right?
We pay $30 for rent.
And that would have $542 per month.
Yeah, that's what they are. Yeah,
So I'm just making sure our counts accurate.
that's right. They include the power, but yeah, you pay for it. Yeah, that's, I mean, I think I have 1 or 2 of my shops.
So I guess that's why I was bringing it up, is because our budget line item right now,
Mhm.
our, balance for, never mind, total amount due. It's not that. probably be about like 3,500.
35.
Because currently it's this last bill was $269.
Right.
And that's really $200 per year. But I also wanted to make sure that count was correct. Apparently that's what it's going to count.
So we'll change that one to 3250, yes.
FMR,
Pretty good going straight up and down that. That's why I was asking, because there's 8.
You got, two down by the park, it should be the parks.
No, those would not be on the park. Those are not on the park meter, I can tell you that.
Should be the state. The actual light should be the state.
That's why,
The
because
drop meter should be ours. Probably one at,
So Ned, can you get a hold of co-op to see if they can give us a list of where these streetlights are?
Sure.
Because there's 8 92-watt 40 LEDs, there's 4 20 LEDs, and 1 250 halide, which I'm thinking that's Martha's, that halide one. Because that's the only other halide in the village,
I don't think notice the difference.
the orange, the old orange.
Oh,
all right, so you'll find out where they are, all right, and you'll try to
That's where
count,
they are.
and we'll see if we get, they're billing us for how many, 13, 15?
There's 13.
They're billing us for 13, so it looks like that.
Is there any up at the shop that are just on a pole, up on the 14 that are just on a pole?
No, nothing that would have been under there. I mean, I had,
Did you run through through the building?
we used to have one out by the sand pile, but we ran out to the building.
Yeah, so.
Are there lights anywhere else, like Station Road,
No,
Airport Road?
Around the school parking lot.
that
Yeah,
would be the
yeah.
school,
Yeah,
so
Okay.
that was
All
why.
right, I'll call them and ask them.
The other reason I was bringing that up is if the one at Martha's is ours, is to see if they could change that one out to an LED too. That would brighten, that would get the other end of the parking lot, dude.
What's that?
Changing the one at Martha's to an LED like they just did on the park,
Yeah,
would get the other end of that parking lot.
yeah. I mean, it's lit up very good.
But if that's correct, we should probably budget 35.
yeah,
3,500?
let's put 35 there unless if we get a reduction in those, then we'll get a reduction.
Yeah. Okay,
Well, and we check all the other bills too, to see if that's kind of accurate.
continuing down with the other things I had questions was, where'd it go? There's no one down here.
Oh, wait, while we're here,
Sure.
so cleaning services. So Deb, I noticed your email that you sent to us, and since it's on the line item here and we budgeted for it, so yes, I don't know if it's on the agenda tonight. Are we getting to that on the agenda?
No, it wasn't that.
It's not on the agenda. I guess we'll talk about it in other business.
Hang on.
We may want to read that cleaning service one. Just make a note, revisit.
Yeah, I were already talking about this afternoon about coming back to one day.
Is that you, Deb? Got a party in the background?
Oh, maybe, could be.
6. I don't think our utilities are correct.
How can we have a,
You got it right there, you're looking at it.
how can we have an actual church?
For this year,
Yeah,
because we have been paying for this year.
how can it be that high?
We just,
That's your water bill.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
not,
oh,
that's
oh.
just not electric.
Oh, okay.
That's not just electric.
Get that water fountain going.
we need 2 of them.
I should note, though, that was a catch up. I think it was several years worth of delinquent water bills involved in that. Over.
Park. just, you can keep going. I'll work on that, because I don't think,
Okay.
there's. Oh, the 14 garage will be on the road budget for utilities for.
Yes,
Okay, and then the Main Street garage would be 2.
And then you put the light
Okay.
poles over by the
Yeah.
garage over here. too.
Well, I think-
Just the ones that count.
Yeah. I was just being just in general for utilities.
For some reason I had 11 in my mind when you brought up that number.
you had a question about the health club and reimbursement. You wanted that reassigned. I just want to make sure we should assign that to CTF. There was questions about whether they were willing to accept it without some additional information from us.
Where did you go?
That's down, sorry. That would be on page,
Page 5, bottom
yeah,
item, rec events and
Oh,
sponsorships.
okay.
That's where we have that.
No, remember we had talked about going to the foundation?
Yeah, but that's where we have the,
I didn't think that's where that came out of.
Is that right, Deb?
or comes out of, on the,
Well, it comes out of the health club. I think Ned went and thought exploration after it. I think because of with the maritime boat, as far as an approximation of possibly doing something for the residents to have a discounted price to ride the boat. So I think he just titled that, but yes, health club, when people submit registrations in, it does offset against this line item right here. Now, I know I had
The health club
a little bit about that, because I think it was you, Scott, I can't remember if Leo came to one of your meetings or if you came to one of our meetings, but there was some information that Leo had wanted in regards to the health club. That I had suggested for Ned to just go back to the minutes to see what was stated as far as for information wanted. I think as soon as they get some of that information, I believe it was like, when did it get established? How did it get established? How, if it was approved via the voters.
Hey, Deb, we're just gonna keep it the way it is for now.
Okay,
we can revisit that.
Yeah.
moving down. There was a question about paying Rod some extra money. And we look at the note there.
Paying who?
The
Cemetery.
gentleman who does the maintenance.
Did they pull the tree off of the fence up there by your place? Scott, did you see the tree? Right
Where?
at Jordan's on the cemetery there
I
that came
didn't-
down over that windstorm?
No,
Fence is crushed.
I didn't notice
I
it,
didn't
no.
notice it.
Huh, nope, it was gone. Never saw it,
Uh,
but I don't take a right out of my yard very often.
Where we at?
It would be on.
Cemetery, down on page 7.
Cemeteries.
Oh,
And
I'd like to propose a gift certificate for Rodney Stone. You said he retired, David?
I don't know that for a fact. That's just, I would call that room int. We'll need to ask Jerry Sansevier what the status is, or Lester Carbonneau may know.
I thought you told me Lester and Lois were gonna take it over.
Again, I would put that into the
Rumor mill?
rumor. I wouldn't call it authoritative that I heard that. It's discussed in the cemetery commissioner meeting, but they didn't make any decisions that I'm aware of. I think if you want me to inquire with Lester, I will be happy to do that.
I think I'd just soon go with a 5.6% raise that is in there. But also if Rodney has retired, I think we should recognize him in some way for his efforts. I mean, those cemeteries are kept to a phenomenal.
he may be a good candidate for the annual report for the.
Deb. Debbie, we're having a hard time hearing you. I don't know if it's your mic changed or.
I
Or,
don't think so. Can you hear me now?
That's better.
Yeah,
I think you were leaning too far away from it.
Oh, maybe it could be. No, I said maybe the dedication page for the annual report would be a nice spot to put Rodney.
In
Annual.
town report.
Yeah.
Not the animal report, the annual.
Well, let me confirm or deny whether he's actually still working for us or not, and
Yeah.
and get that information as well, okay?
So does this salary line, this doesn't include, that's what you were going to, David, is it doesn't include an increase, the pay increase to 5.9%?
Does it?
I don't think so.
It
because-
does not, no.
Does
Okay.
not
I
at
was
this
looking,
time.
I was looking over there. to
Yeah,
see.
it does not.
So
Yeah.
that 5.9% would be,
Eight,
another $400.
yeah, eight
Yeah.
something.
Yep.
I can get the number for you right now.
8,092.
And like if those big trees fall down, we used to have a line item for cemetery tree removal, what, now it's included?
I don't know. Oh, there is. Look at that.
There is.
And then one just fell down.
Yeah,
If one of
one just
those
fell
big
down.
trees
You
fall down.
Look,
you
look
could-
when you, it was one of, it was half of one of the big ones. laying
You
on my
could,
desk.
you could spend some serious money. Those things, some of those trees are 8 foot in diameter.
Look on the way back up there.
I don't think it's there, but I'll look.
Okay. Moving on. I think-
So I would make it even, make it 8,100 or 8,200.
Okay.
Does it have to be exact?
No,
Okay.
Maybe make it 8,500 that way in case he has to, maybe he charges us for the tree.
Or we. It's a gift.
yeah, we definitely hire out tree removal separately. That's a whole separate thing.
Okay. Apparently, there's a separate line item for that, so.
Yeah, there is. We would probably come and ask to move money from one of the other underused ones, typically, if equipment maintenance or something, but
Oh,
Yeah.
don't take it out of equipment maintenance because Rodney has been dealing with a problematic electrical system in the tractor. I spoke to him because we kept getting bills for it.
Put $500
Every couple
in
of weeks.
cemetery tree.
yeah,
He and I think we
500.
resolved all the basically
Cemetery
almost
tree removal.
replaced the whole electrical system, so it may have resolved itself, but
There's
Just
nothing
not-
to steal it out of.
transfer from there right now, just until. next
well, I
year.
can't do that on my own anyway. That takes the board.
Okay,
Dave, what do you think? We should throw 500 in the tree removal?
If there's a big tree down, you better throw 1,500 in there.
got it.
Which cemetery are we talking about that has a big tree?
By Scott's day.
Day Cemetery?
Well, yeah, when I saw it, it was off towards Jordan's driveway. On the fence, and it was half of the big trees.
When you say big, we talking 2 feet, 5 feet diameter or something like that?
Like,
With arms around it?
better.
I think, that was just me driving by on Pine Hill, I didn't stop and look.
I mean,
And
yeah.
actually, I could,
Okay.
we could take it
You,
out.
we could date, yeah,
All right, let's throw a number.
Let's
in
put
there.
500, we can handle, if it's just something laying there, me and John can handle it.
Yeah.
All right,
500 is fine.
500.
Okay. 500.
You guys can go up there and just stay warm, light a fire.
If it's maple, we'll figure it out.
All
Oh,
right.
yeah.
And
How much did it cost to dispose of the tree wood? If it's popple, a lot.
And that's the end of the general budget. You'd like to move down to the roads?
So the roads, that's just,
Yeah.
is that a repeated copy of last year with some
No, I've made some
changes?
with some changes. The first change is right at the top. When I just copied across the 253, it doesn't quite, given some
Hang on, I don't know if I see that.
What page you on?
Yeah,
page,
Page one.
it'd be just after
If
the
you
general
go back
budget, it's
after
like
the general
page 9,
budget.
really.
I think you had another.
Yeah, I just added
Keep
it off
going,
the
keep going.
back.
So we have more page ones?
Yeah, we have a second page one.
Okay,
Just keep
yeah,
going.
go after that one.
The next one, page 8, then page 1.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, so it's that page one,
all
right?
right.
When I started with that amount, the 253,000. It didn't quite cover the cost, so I added in 25 more thousand. I took it.
So this is the revenue?
Yes, this was on the
Yeah.
revenue, the very first line, sorry.
Oh, that's just to cover our budget. Okay,
Yeah, to
I
cover
got
the
it.
road budget,
I
yes.
got it.
And I lowered the general budget line item by 100,000 just to make sure we were set. Hang on, we moved that back to the other side.
Seems confusing.
Everything, many other things stayed the same. 82,000 for the state. Continuing down, let me just get to some of the key things. Health insurance, I was assuming that Mr. Gallup would be retiring, and
That isn't,
I don't know where the
that
resumption is
isn't
coming
discussion
from.
for, that isn't public discussion.
we should still assume that insurance should be covered in that fiscal year, so that if we hire somebody, it would be covered. Hang on, let me get my cursor back down there. We would also need to do some Beamer's retirement stuff and cover insurance, and I just copied over essentially stuff that we had in prior fiscal years, plus a little bit extra. The unemployment, again, calculated at 1% of the payroll, that's where we get the 1250 from. And, you know, increasing things by some negligible amount, 500 here, 1,000 there, depending on what it is. It's not there. Oh, increase the salaries by 5.9% like we did with all other employees as we continue down into, that would be page. With the road commissioner winter budget. That would be, it's page 3, excuse me. Moving down the winter equipment, based on the bills, I lowered it because some of the repairs seem to be setting up new vehicles and new things. So we cut that one down.
Where's the?
He's on the next page. I'm still going, he's going too fast.
Yeah,
Oh,
slow
sorry.
down.
I'm reviewing
Sorry.
page 2, so are you?
Yeah.
We're still on page 2.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, I wouldn't be lowering any of our winter equipment.
Okay,
Rents or expenses.
You never know what's gonna
I'm
happen.
starting to get show some rot in them trucks, and I might be proposing a replacement for one of them.
okay.
Plus, probably ought to start looking for a new lawnmower. That one's a 1994. You keep them that long, is he? No.
Man, he trades it every 6 months.
Oh, we don't make good money. How many hours do you get on before you trade it?
The oldest one is about 2,500.
Yeah,
That probably,
she ready?
yeah.
All right, I'll tinker with that one a little bit. We can wait on that.
Right, so you're gonna work on that.
I'll work on that.
All right.
Oh, hang on, let me just go over a couple other things with the road. That one, let's get that sentence.
Do you think, David,
We upped the fuel by 2,500.
well, I was just gonna ask that, do you
Yeah,
think that should go up higher?
probably a good idea.
Because it was 15,000, 15,500, and then you still have 15,500 and under the fuel winter, or were you on the summer still? You on the summer still?
Oh, summer, sorry. Damn it, okay, sorry.
No, I moved to winter, but is there a fuel in the summer?
There's fuel in winter and
Yeah.
fuel in summer.
I
Oh,
would think we're into winter.
Yeah. And I kept it at 15.5 because we're at 65.
well, I guess we've been under, so
Yeah,
we were at 12,000, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
We probably use it all.
Depends on.
It's nice that Cumbies, their prices on their signs are not matching the pumps. And it's actually for the better, because the pumps are lower.
Where's that?
Cumbies,
Okay. Uh,
what did you say you lowered on?
I lowered the summer fuel based on actual. We only spent 5,600 in summer fuels in 21. And we had budgeted 12 grand for it, and so I had lowered it to 6,500. So it'd be the 2021 expenditure plus 15% more, assuming that gas prices or diesel fuel prices are gonna go up.
What is the,
Well, I'm gonna assume the actual number here is for this summer anyways, so. Oh, well, that would have been only for
Yeah.
half the summer.
So why is this so cheap here? Why would we? It was 12, you always budgeted 12,000, it's 5,600, 4,000.
Yeah,
When do you switch from summer to winter? Would you say like the last September,
well,
October, or
the
November?
grade of the fuel changes. Probably changed my last load.
October?
Probably.
So the summer price, this. Summer budget, is that from July 1 to, say, over September?
yeah, that's till.
What do you consider, when's yours change from the road, the summer?
It's,
budget
it's,
to the
it's so
road?
hard to tell. I mean, you could have different items, different line items, that be a year.
Well, I think.
I usually do like winter starting in October and then do 6 months from there. But I've only always done it that way because when working at Meadows with the fuel,
Makes sense.
2 months always started October and ran for 6 months.
Did we have this
So that's why it
conversation
makes it up, see the fuel bills come in.
together?
But what-
Why not have it all as one instead of a separate winter and separate summer?
Well, I don't know if it's still the case, but I know, when you have your spring meeting with AOT. They used
Oh, that's right, there was
they used to
something with the
break it-
funding.
They used
Yeah,
to break it
yeah.
out for,
They definitely.
you had to spend so much for winter maintenance. per
Yep.
month.
So we
I
put
remember
for
that.
AOT on there, so we'll remember. You gonna remember that? We're gonna ask that question.
I guess
again.
October, 6 months.
Okay,
Actually,
But then that technically runs your summer,
that leaves
you
us a
split
little
that
bit,
budget
a
year.
little bit of extra. So we do have some space to work on the budget. You see the very last page, the total is 14,000. Actually, it's probably changed because I just changed things here. So we do end up with by raising that, the Waste USA, I'll say income and fees from 253 to 275, leaves us a little bit of a cushion in the road budget. Thank you.
So,
okay.
um.
We're just number
okay, so
4.
hang on.
We're almost at the beginning.
So. I would love to see us finalize this third, but we're not gonna be doing much on that meeting.
Actually, the V-Trans thing should be very quick unless we have some. huge
I
amount
guess
of
it would
people.
be. David, do you think you can have changes on the budget that we could maybe finalize this come the third? 'Cause I don't think there's anything up big that we need to discuss on it, right? And then we can get everything else and get things in. Maybe we don't have to do extra meetings.
Yep. Okay. Moving on to the treasurer's report.
Well, sure you want to hear a lengthy thing from me, but I've only got a quick one. So I believe you've got the report in front of you, and if you don't, I'm still going to talk about it. So then you've got the,
Yeah, I'm about to. Oh, okay. hang on. Let's-
so I'll just start talking. November is the month where we issue the school check. And that's the big check for the year where we've collected all those good education taxes. the only taxes that we pay in Coventry, and we send it off to the school. That was nearly 1.8 million, 1,775,000 and change. So when you look at the report this month, you can see that on the expense column of the general fund checking line, that big check going out the door.
The 1,900,000 and some odd thousand.
Oh, that wasn't the.
Well,
actual-
no, well, that includes other expenses.
I understand, but
But the school check itself was nearly 1.8 million. So without that, we had kind of normal general fund spending. Reserve fund spending, the 15,000 from the building and maintenance fund was for the church partial payment for that renovation and redo work there in the steeple. And everything else was quite small. On a note on the reserve funds, I'm preparing a report now for the town report that will report the reserve fund spending probably over the last calendar year, because that's kind of what makes sense for the general reader to look at, even though I'll try and break it out by fiscal year as well. I haven't quite arrived at the format for that yet, but just a report that's new to the town report that will talk about reserve fund spending. Last year I had a couple of requests and I put something up on the town website, but this year I intend to include it in the report. Other than that, I'm glad that November's done. That's the big tax month and it's very taxing. And the pun is intended, but there's a lot of work right there at the beginning of the month. And then the rest of the month cleaning up all the mess from credits, and you guys got to sign or look at all those checks last week for tax credits. I don't anticipate that next year we'll have anything of that. It'll be back to a normal year because we won't have any of the weird CLA effects from the reappraisal next year, hopefully. So with that, if there's any questions, I'd be happy to take a shot at answering them. Otherwise, I'm done. Over.
He said he's just gonna, he did say.
Farlow, no fooling around, Dave Farlow.
Oh, you can see that? I was waiting for you to take that screen down. That's pretty cool. I didn't know I could do that.
I didn't know that either.
Wow.
Wow. Okay, thank you, Dave.
Sorry, what was that?
He's gonna try to touch it up.
No,
Okay, so number 6, approval of the ambulance service agreement for calendar year 2022. The agreement, I believe, is 100% the same, other than the price.
Correct.
I'm not sure what it was last
It
year.
went up, the only thing that went up, actually,
Oh, wasn't it $3,000? Everything, didn't we look at this? We already looked at it. Okay, well,
For ambulance,
Is it out?
33, yeah,
$3,000.
just over.
Yep. I make a motion to approve the ambulance service contract effective January 1, 2022, for the amount of $36,454. It's going to be paid in one installment on or before July 15th, 2022.
Shit.
Have anything to say first?
Yeah, because it's a discussion after. I wonder if we should see about changing this to a fiscal year. Because this amount is, even though it was budgeted in the fine for last year, this amount is being paid. Because Deb has to write a check. We're kind of weird. Because this budgeted line item of 36,000 is going into the 22 fiscal that starts July 1st, but we're not paying that. we'll be paying them out of this fiscal year, unless Deb writes a check for them between July 1st and July 15th.
She could change it though and do it pre-year end.
Right, but that's what I mean, was the budget, so the budget isn't lining up with that.
So we don't want to table this and ask them, and maybe let them break this into two, have it go with our fiscal year.
Does it make sense? It kind of, Deb's having too much fun with her partying.
Dan, we have a
Deborah.
question for you.
Or the,
Hello?
So what's your thought on the ambulance contract? They're going calendar year. Would it, and with the payment on or before July 15th of 22? Would it make sense to ask them to see
Oh,
if
that's
we
it.
change it to fiscal year? Because would you be paying this contract that in our actual fiscal year 23, what the next, between July 1st and July 15th? Because this
That's usually
number is
what
just
we
going up in the
do.
budget.
To pay it until that actual date. So what happens, I usually input that in as of like July 1st, 2022.
So
So
it
that
doesn't
it goes on to the next fiscal period.
Okay. Because,
We usually have like 2 or 3 invoices like that I do that too.
so it makes no difference to you.
No, nope. As long as we've got like a double payment for each fiscal period, we're all set.
Okay, so do I have a second on the motion?
he seconded it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We're gonna sign these, don't forget.
Yep.
Approval of prepayment to North Star Fireworks, early payment will receive a discounted price.
So North Star sent out this to myself since and then contact the town. I'm gonna assume that we're gonna try to do something again this year. And they are giving the 10% in additional, well, 10% additional fireworks if we pay by January 15th. Or obviously the 5% by February. I did talk to DJ, said since we're in an off season, we're not a July 4th show, that she's fine if we pay that now and pick a date later. She did also say that they, and as a note, not that we had it, we had $7,000 last the fall festival. But they're changing their minimums for July 4th to 10,000 and any other shows to 5,000, so we still make it, but they are also suggesting that if you want, because the cost of fireworks have gone up.
No way. Really?
Yeah, along with everything else,
Yeah,
that's what I told her. Is to probably, if you want the same size show, to expect to put 10 to 20% more on it. To do it, but she said you can easily do the 7,000 now and get that 10%, that's $700 worth of fireworks in addition. And then if we wanted to add the 10% on later, we can do that before the show. I mean, you just want to get the 10% extra, like if we added another 1,000.
I'm sure just the shipping of these in a container from overseas, then the shipping.
And
is
then
double.
they've also put more regulations over in China on things too.
So if we approve the same amount that we spent last year.
We get
10%,
700.
We're gonna get 10% more.
No, we're gonna get about the same amount.
Yeah, so honestly, yeah,
Because if
so if you
we're-
look at it that way, if we do if they're, what they're projecting is that if you want the same size show, you're gonna want 10 to 20% more added to it. So, yeah, in theory, if those projections with their raising cost go, then we do the $7,000 now, we're gonna get pretty much the same show.
I think we had plenty. It was a great.
Yeah.
job.
It was beautiful, it was good, you did an awesome
Yeah.
job.
So let's approve that.
Yep.
The same amount, we're gonna get 10% more.
No, they're gonna go up 10%. So we're
At
gonna-
least monetarily wise, it'll look that way.
Yeah, we're not gonna get, we're gonna. with what
Well,
we-
it says receive 10%.
Yes, Yes, but it's also coming down
The
to that there's a price
$7,000
hike and they're
going
saying that
to
we're,
The price has gone up 10%.
Oh.
So if we approve the same amount without a price increase, then we're gonna end up with the same.
But down the road before the show, if we decide, hey, we want to add some more to it, we can do that easily. Right, so we just won't get the 10% more on it.
Pay the early thing.
Pay the early thing and get that, at least that part.
All right, so I make a motion that we approve the same amount of money as we spent last year with North Star Fireworks,
Which is $7,000.
$7,000. Got a second? All those in favor? Aye.
So question is gonna be, where does that come from? Because that's not this fiscal year, or that's not next fiscal year.
Take it out of your 25 grand, you got.
Do we still have, what do we still have left though?
Hang on, I can tell you that one right away.
Oh,
That's
Because
We
we're
could
still, we're still in the
Yeah.
same fiscal year.
3,500, 3,400 left. And but we still
This
have,
would be a Barlow question.
I would assume we would end up going ahead and posting this to a prepaid expense
Oh,
account.
So it could come
And-
out of that budget for next year just as a prepaid?
Absolutely, because we're not using this for this year, so it shouldn't be affecting this year. It should be posted as a prepaid, and then come July 1st, it would have a, well, technically a journal entry getting out of prepaid and posting it to the Coventry Day expense account. But David can,
Yeah, that's just like what she said.
but that's not pre-approving, pre-authorizing, unapproved.
Well, it would be, so we would still pay it, they just put it in a prepaid expense account.
All right, we're good.
So you're gonna need an invoice then, right? For that, so I'll get a hold of DJ and get one.
Okay, under other business, update on Sansucci's agreement contract for 22 and 2023.
we have not gotten an update from them. They have recognized that they will have to defend their info. Austin has not gotten me any information. I'm surprised they're usually pretty responsible getting it to here, but for the meeting, but they have not.
So is that?
Why do we want them?
Pardon?
Why do we want them?
Well, they're gonna charge us money to defend their report,
Why would we
Which
do that?
report?
their report on the assessed valuation of the reappraised valuation for the landfill.
Why would
Is
we
it
do
doing,
that?
Hmm?
Why would we do
I was gonna say, do we need it?
that? We don't care what the fucking paper comes in. If they argue it.
It's done, isn't it?
No, they're gonna, I believe there's a possibility that we could have an appeal.
Yeah. I
So
mean,
we're going.
Down the road, not for this year, but when it comes around
But
to the
we're
next
basing
appeal
that on,
process.
we're basing that on assumption that,
But maybe not when they get the information. If they did a good job, we paid them $60,000 to appraise it, it should stand.
our BCA might approve if they, what do you call it, grieve.
agreed, yes.
You gotta go to our BCA first. Why, and we don't, at the end of the day, it does not benefit this community at all anyway. Because what David will tell you time and again, we're based only on what we pay per student. We don't care if a landfill's 50 million or $1.
No, but it is our obligation, though, it is our obligation to have fair market value, an established fair market value.
Correct.
So it's unfortunate for the town. It's really unfortunate for the town that they missed their appeal this year.
Yeah.
Because we have this value that we contracted professionals and they provided us this value. And they back it up saying it's true. So the next year, when and if it does get appealed, okay. It would have been nice to have it happen already, the first time, right off the bat.
Even next year, if it goes to court, you just have a lawyer quote that thing. We don't, because we don't care if we win. It does, unfortunately, it just does not matter. Why are we gonna give this guy another 25 grand?
And that would be cheap.
Is that what that's for?
I
No.
never saw a number.
We haven't got a contract yet,
I
so
think
we're
it's-
So
discussing,
I think we're talking way too
we're
much. at this
discussing,
point.
Yeah.
we're discussing something.
We don't even know what's coming.
All right, so we'll table the San Souci agreement contract to the next meeting
Yeah.
because we
Why
don't
don't,
know.
why don't we even not have it?
I think we, until they
Yeah,
get us.
because
something.
what it's gonna be is they're gonna want an update like on the utilities. You know, they appraise the utilities and we're gonna have a discussion about it saying possibly, my point is, I think they're fine and leave them alone. Leave everybody alone for a while is what my thought, but we need to see the paperwork and then we can.
Yeah,
We don't need, why would we request it? Because in the end of the day, but when we ain't gonna need it.
Well, eventually, in 5 years, we're probably gonna have to hire another company, either Sansucci or somebody like him,
I would,
but,
I would argue that.
but maybe not, maybe we're good for 10
Yeah.
years.
I would argue that no other town is gonna hire them. And the reason is you're gonna let the state do what the state does, and that's assess their utilities the way they used to. Like what the utilities used to call Doug Lay or whatever. Say we got 162 poles. And he would set that value as a state's appraiser. No other town is.
No, but obviously they were off because we did get the utilities
But
here.
it-
I know it doesn't,
But not only does it not matter to us, those numbers don't matter because it didn't set precedent. Just because we stated that that pole was worth 7,500, doesn't mean that same pole's worth 7,500 in Irisburg, who is not gonna hire that guy
Mhm.
for $50,000. It's gonna be whatever the public service board or whoever does that appraisal. You know, for years, the town never got involved with that. Your listers never got involved in that. You know, the state would just set those rates for you. I believe I'm correct in that. Maybe I'm not,
I think you're right.
but I know Doug Way was involved and that was part of the reason we went with this Sansucci. He got done.
Yep.
David?
Yeah, the state did the utilities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't we go back to that and not spend all this money for something that don't gain us?
Well, I don't know why you
So,
would. Now, however, careful to note, though, that the state did not do the landfill. However, the state was happy with the previous landfill evaluation.
The state, right.
that's what I was just gonna ask, is if this agreement is specifically to utilities or if it's to everything.
Well, who is doing this?
Well, what happens is if it basically, doesn't it all go through Bill Krajewski's office regardless? Even though that Sansucci did the evaluation, we're
It does go
represented
through
by
the
Bill's
assessors.
office, so it goes through Bill's office.
Well, I'm not sure about that, because I remember talking with Bill early in the process, and he's like, what the hell are you doing hiring these guys as far as the utilities? But he did say, as far as the landfill, he was probably the only.
Best thing to do.
Well, he was
It's
saying.
the only one that
He was probably saying he's the only one who's gonna come up with it.
real number.
All right, well,
So
let's table,
that.
let's table it. We'll just,
Yeah.
Let's not have it until we have a contract.
Yeah.
Do we want a contract?
exactly.
Let's not have it on the agenda.
Was it asked of an update to them
yes,
and they just haven't gotten it?
they have not gotten it back to us at all.
Update on the roof replacement of the Elijah Cleveland Meeting House, formerly the Coventry Congressional Church.
The board you asked me to get a price quote on how much it'd be less if we took care of the dumpster ourselves. It's $2,800 less. I got a dumpster price from Jeremy and it's basically $2,500.
I thought it was free.
So he was-
That's not what
He wasn't gonna do anything?
Does he know it's in our contract?
I can ask him again.
No, it's in our contract. If he looks at the contract, get out of our contract, we get,
We have a pretty good balance, like 500 tons.
I
Okay.
believe it's 100 ton. We tried to get the tires. Remember, we wanted,
Well, you got a lot of tires plus that, It was a pretty good deal, but I forgot like.
I got some tires.
it was a-
You did get some tires in there.
So what are you gonna do, throw them inside the road?
I'll load them in your truck, right?
You have to pull out the contract and check it.
That's the citing contract?
Yeah,
Okay, I will check with that.
it's all in one and it's in there. They,
Okay, I will check.
It was a large
Yeah,
one.
I was surprised how little the price was that we got a discount from Vermont Construction, so.
well, I think they're gonna wanna pay, we'll provide the dumps, like I could
Yeah,
get,
we did,
I could get David Giroux or someone to throw a couple dumpsters, and if he charges us 200 to go dump them.
Well, that's something to talk to Jeremy, because Casella's got them, he could drop it.
Yeah, but they might wanna, just because we get that much free tonnage doesn't mean we get that much free trucking or anything.
Well, I guess that's where we get the price from that.
But we could say, okay, listen, instead of giving us 100 free tons for this year, we just want this
Just
for
taken
free
care
and
of.
that's it.
It's a pretty small amount, though, at the end of the day, we might have a lot more stuff, like Yankat, you don't know, if you guys might decide to Yankat downtown road.
Probably not this year though.
I think for the cost.
Yeah, I
Oh,
would've-
I'm glad you brought that up. We don't have to-
All right,
We gotta do something about the oil.
so you're gonna find out.
yeah, we'll find out.
Okay, do you wanna,
It just
while you
needs to
have
be-
it
it just needs to be done.
What about next
Yeah.
door?
Yeah, so if we're gonna stay with oil supply on that one, Robert requires a tank inspection, and we went down, looked at it. It is wet underneath it.
I think everybody's gonna require a tank inspection.
Yeah, so he recommended some Elam, I've got the number at garage. Some Elam from Barton, I think he said it was around $2,000 for a tank replacement.
Yeah, I'd probably just do the replacement and.
Well, why
You
don't we
get some
get,
pricing.
should we get an inspection, because depending on how long we're.
He's
gonna-
already inspected it, and said he'll give us a little, give us time to make. a
Can you give
decision.
us till March, April?
Unless you go that far, or we could reach out to whoever's delivering there, and say, but now that we spoke about it, we look pretty stupid if the tank blew up and we ended up with a hazmat spill.
Well, how much is it leaking, you know? Is it just like, is it just?
There's just like a little seat. you
They
know,
won't fill it though if he knows it now.
Yeah, you need to. see-
I know, it sucks, you're spending $2,000.
$2,000, and if you tear the house down, what a waste of $2,000. I mean,
I know. and
I'm
it's-
trying to think, I
I
have
had
to
a
make a
tank,
call,
too.
if somebody has an oil tank.
It's a brand, I mean, everything else.
you know what, I bet we could get one over at the. At Wright's, people throw those away and they get $50 for spray.
Well, the thing is, you might not be able to use it anyways.
So then you put it in there, all right. So what,
Is there a
Colorado,
way to just get like a temp, like a fuel oil tank, not a,
I don't know.
What's in there for a furnace?
Awesome. Basically a brand new hot air furnace.
Cause they, I
you
guess it
could
would
get
matter.
converted to gas,
Convert it to
propane,
propane.
but that's for
Yeah.
$2,000.
Yeah.
Why don't you call around and see about getting a price for a new oil
tank
tank? Is it
and that.
easy access?
I've got the numbers and everything.
All right, you'll do it.
I'll do that. I got that. And also,
Cause there's quite a few people around here that'll do that.
that do,
Yeah.
all
so,
right. If you got any other names?
yeah, I'll get
send
some
me an
names.
email. One other thing there was, in our contract, our lease agreement, we were supposed to send a letter. And I reached out to Monahan and they never got back to me.
Send the letter.
To tell me if it
Okay, I'll be talking to them. so.
was- I think I reached out to the same girl that works with me, Kirsten.
Kirsten was her name, yeah.
What's in the houses? What was the name?
Kimball.
Kimball House.
Kimball. So the lease is over.
Yeah, so it does say right in the lease that we're supposed to send a certified letter. And Brian, I've talked to Brian Kimball, and he said probably within the next couple, he'll have everything out of there that he wants, then he just should not have anything to do with it.
Trust.
most of her stuff is back there being given away.
Okay. So getting back to the roof replacement. I suggest, since we only have the one roof bid, and the price to me doesn't look out of line, and we should nail someone down so we don't go a whole nother year without a roof. Why don't you have them, why don't
do we want to vote? You don't have their bid in front of us?
I don't have it in front of, yeah, so, it's on my desk, but I don't think, I
Why
think
don't
it's
we,
better if we, waiting until January 3rd won't make a difference.
Because they aren't gonna do anything at this
so
point.
let's,
anyways, right?
let's definitely make a note to put it on our next meeting, because
Yes, as long as
I
that
really
is
think we
not.
should vote on having them do the work, and then just write that in the contract.
Yeah.
They'll take out $2,800 if we take care of the dump fee.
Okay,
All right. Update on radar speed sign.
What's your-
Phil asked me to check out prices on radar speed signs. They range in price from 2,500 to 7,500. A good solid one with solar, self-contained on a box beam standard sign goes 3,250.
Does it flash the blue lights?
It flashes a white light, a white dot in the middle of the
So
number.
that's that one.
Yeah.
I've seen those ones too.
And I was hoping Jen Barlow, Harlow was here. She has, still has the trailer. I was gonna ask her about what the price of the trailers are. They usually are between 12, 18 grand. Just so
Is that what she was here for? Or was she here for the?
No, she was here for her own contract stuff.
Because we did that, went over that last month, didn't we?
Yeah, but there was some question on whether did we want to go from the 3 hours a week, which is the 10 grand, to 25, which would be 8 hours per week.
I think,
I thought we said to go ahead.
I thought we voted on that.
Okay, I wasn't sure. I voted here, but I will.
Sure.
The sheriff.
I think we voted on that 8 hours to stay off the main roads.
Okay,
Oh, but I thought you just talked about raising the contract price.
Well, that would have been raising the
Yeah.
hours too. That was part of her proposal
I didn't see that. Just raising them?
last meeting.
No, it wasn't last
And
week.
it wasn't last meeting, maybe the
It
meeting
was
before.
like 3 meetings ago, I think, 2 or 3 meetings ago, she came in. We sat down and yeah, we talked about, she made a proposal of 8 hours a week.
Yeah, there was one. Okay, anyways.
Anyway, so,
I will confirm with her, get dates and stuff.
okay. All right.
Would you like me to still pursue this purchasing of the radar sign?
I wouldn't mind getting some more pricing
Okay,
Notice of Orleans,
and look into maybe possible grants,
but, sorry, getting more pricing and
possible grants.
grants, yeah, there are, I can tell you. I don't think there's, actually, we could probably spend some of our V-Trans money, but I'll check into
where
it.
the ARPA funds. I just don't-
Also funds, definitely.
I don't want the blue light one by my house.
Why not?
Well,
Scare the shit, it
it'd
would
be-
scare you every time.
It'd be okay if it was pre my driveway, that way I don't see it. I like, at night you're sleeping, you think there's a cop out there. Okay,
The blue light ones are,
notice of Orleans County budget meeting on Monday, January 17th.
yes, they're having, we just got notification of it. They asked that we have it as an item here on the agenda. They're gonna vote on officers and their budget and other stuff. People would like more information, there's a post out there, or I can send them the stuff.
Oh, that's why I'm gonna bring it up after, okay.
Okay.
There was something I just wrote in there. Numbers, oh, can I add this before?
Got other business, anybody else have anything in other business?
So,
I think you're gonna talk about the cleaning.
Yeah,
hang on, I wanna bring this up before I forget about it again. What's the status on the website? We've paid for
we
that,
paid for it.
why are we not done yet?
Haven't had time to move stuff there. All the stuff's there. I just gotta have time. I've been doing the budget and other stuff, so I will get there.
So the website's new, it's up.
It's new, it's not.
not
live.
up, it's not live.
It's not live,
It's
it's on a
been
test site.
going this way the last 3 months.
Yes,
Okay. So the website,
I will go and look at it this week and get it done.
Okay, go ahead,
Deb?
Dave and Deb.
we'll fight over who wants to go first.
Cleaning contract will probably wait until next month, I'm gonna guess, or next.
Well, no, let's just throw it out there. So Deb, I read the letter, the email that you sent
Oh,
about
I got
it
that.
not being
Yeah.
up to snuff. I reached out to Ned to talk to her and tell her what the findings are. and find out what her answer is, you know? Is she having a bad day? Did she miss it? You know, just tell us what's going on, because I think overall, up until this last little bit, she's been doing a pretty decent job for the amount of money that she charges. And I know when we shopped this out to bid before, we didn't have there wasn't a bunch of businesses knocking on our door to do it,
Or reasonably.
reasonably priced.
Yeah, yeah. No, I had just moved some tables for Deb and she just made the comment as far as for what she had noticed. And she's like, who should be made aware of this? And I'm like, well, that definitely the select board. But that's why I had put it into the email as well, as I don't know if her current contract designates for her to be cleaning the kitchen. And maybe that's something that should be reviewed to see exactly what is in her contract, what is she actually doing every single week when she's coming. If it's something that she's overlooking, she should be doing, or if it's something that wasn't listed and we need to add on to the contract to have her start doing. I'm not quite sure where that, issue's coming from. But yeah, definitely, I mean, out in that back room, she has showed me where there was just, I mean, a pile of dirt, and it was just like, oh my gosh, I mean, to go through an expense, the time and money to have that back room cleaned.
Yeah, there's a pile there.
Is this something that has been just recently or consistently for a while? Deb, like, what did Deb say? Like, is it just a 1 week thing that she saw it, or?
No, it sounds like it has been happening. I don't know how long. I mean, that's definitely a conversation if you guys wanted to have with Deb or not. She just made the concerns to me. I think it was more or less she was starting to sound a little bit frustrated because every single time when she was coming in to do the senior meals, she had to clean the kitchen because there was sticky counters, and the tables out, like in the area where you guys are sitting. She had to go through and wipe all of those tables all down again. The floor was dirty. Where, I mean, I know Deb, I've been there when she's there finishing up with this. And she is wiping down all the tables. She's wiping down the kitchen. So she's definitely cleaning up after her people. And she said she just had some of the seniors coming in and saying, oh boy, that bathroom is a disaster. And so Deb will go into the bathroom and she'll clean the bathroom. So that's just what she had mentioned to me. So I said, okay.
There's only been since Halloween, one person,
Yeah.
and Thanksgiving.
3, maybe.
And other than that, this kitchen's not being used.
So,
And I put in the kitchen and other than some crumbs and a couple of flecks of glitter in
Yeah.
there, I really haven't noticed anything.
so you're gonna be our eyes, Ned. So
Yeah.
after the only people in here are the wrestling people, right?
They aren't even in
They're
here
not
yet.
in here
They
yet.
haven't even
They're
been,
not here yet.
they're not making a mess in the bathroom.
No.
No, and the rest of the people have volunteered to mop after.
And I would think with Ned and Deb and David and everybody being here, you notice the bathrooms being dirty.
And I have not noticed the bathrooms being dirty, you know. And I have not noticed the kitchen having absurdly dirty, staining, or we have had a couple of Kool-Aid spills in here that were sticky.
So can you just find out TC's cleaning contract and then just review it and bring it to our, is
TC?
it TC cleaning?
I thought it was CC, but
TC.
Yeah, it's actually been changed to Kelly Collins because her 3 Cs Cleaning is now an invalid company name. So depending on that contract, and I'll go to David with this, I don't know if it should be redone. I am not sure she's expecting on renewing that trade name of 3 Cs Cleaning. But if the contract is specifically to 3 Cs Cleaning, 3 Cs Cleaning does not exist. Everything is being ran underneath her name personally. So I don't know if that's something that we should be changing right now, or at least having a conversation, Ned or you folks, as far as, are you going to be reestablishing your name? If not, then that contract definitely should be redone to her name and not a fictitious business name that doesn't exist anymore.
We will-
I will check.
We'll
with
get the
Kelly.
information. Thanks for letting us know, Deb. We appreciate it, and we'll address it. Mr. Barlow,
Okay, bottom line up front, I need you guys to appoint a NEMRIC software administrator.
Oh, we did that.
And the reason being the NEMRIC is finally getting around to replacing their antique security system on their cloud service. And we're about to have unique logins to their cloud service with the unique usernames and two-factor identification or factor authorization, whatever you want to call it, two factors, supposedly. So that requires that somebody be in charge of that. So I need you guys to appoint somebody to be in charge.
I suggest David.
Yeah, I was going on it.
What?
I second.
Damn. So, yeah, I was kind of expecting, that's fine. I was already kind of managing the software as best I could anyway, but now that we'll have some unique, at least in theory, some attribution to who does what on there. And I say at least in theory, because it will require log searches and all that. But,
So actual security, is that what you're meaning?
well, I hate to go that far, but I'd say it's better than what there is, which is to say almost nothing. So,
I make the motion to appoint David Barlow as the NEMRIC software
administrator.
administrator.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
My career ambition has been reached. Yay. I'm kidding, of course. But thank you.
Thank you.
We will administrate now and have fun, so to speak. That was it. Thanks. Over.
Any other business? If there's no other business?
I thought I was going to bed early.
Yeah.
All right.
So did you guys make a determination on the select board pay or not yet?
It was to change it to a stipend.
Stipend.
To change that to a stipend and the EMD as well?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say so.
Yeah,
Okay,
that was my understanding.
No, that was, okay, so there's EMD and 911.
We don't need to make a motion on that, do we?
I'm wondering if you probably should maybe, David, because in years past, it's been paid out of payroll and it's being paid differently.
I think it's really kind of up to me, but I wanted at least concurrence. I don't see that coming back badly with the auditor. I mean, it would be an auditor thing, right? So,
Yeah.
as long as the IRS is happy. I mean, if it's a stipend, you guys will need W-9s from you. That's kind of
Yeah.
the,
Let's say we get it either way.
Yeah.
We either get a W-2 or we get a W-9.
well, no, you have to fill out a
Yeah,
W-9
yeah.
Yeah,
instead of
you'll end
W-4.
up getting a 1099.
And then,
Right. It changes things a little bit
Yeah.
for you.
See, David.
All right, so if we don't need a motion, we won't make one. Okay. There's no other business. I'm going to move on to signing.
Warrants, yeah, okay, sorry, I thought you were ending.
are we at minutes?
You were
Oh,
in
warrants.
warrants.
Oh, we didn't accept the minute.
Let's just do the minutes and we can get that done.
All right.
We have on here, bill was discussed for the town share, the capital expenses for the fire department. Didn't we approve that?
Yes, we did. Reports.
Yeah, so you don't have that on there.
Okay, all right. I will provide. Okay, I will revise.
The only thing I saw. Owners, motion. Make a motion to accept the minutes of the December 6th meeting with the change that the Newport Fire Department bill was approved.
So move. All those in favor?
Aye. Warrants. I don't feel more,
Maybe we'll sign them all this time.
maybe you'll actually sign on this one.
Mind you,
I found that Phil didn't sign.
He did
last
sign
time.
on last time.
So
there's only 2 that you missed, Scott.
only 2. Oh geez, that makes me feel good.
Hopefully tonight we're gonna shoot for 0.
Yeah, there's only 1 page per, so. Pull that front page around to the,
I got it. I signed this one. That's only 1 page per.
yeah, we'll pull that back page
Oh, is that one I
to
forgot?
the, to the
Oh,
front.
all right, got it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I tried to put the sign-in page on top to make it easier.
Sorry, that messed me up. That
Oh,
was,
did that? I'm sorry. I'm like, well, maybe you'll see the sign-in spot.
She's like, boy,
I think I throw him at him too fast, he just skips them.
these guys are incompetent. She's like, I gotta,
We actually do need a motion to approve the warrants though.
I'll make a motion to approve the warrants as they are.
so move.
Submitted.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Would you like the demo site built, once I get onto it, would you like me to send you the link so you can give it a test also?
I can look through it, yeah.
Okay. Send you the link.
Did you get your MRI on the leg?
No schedule yet whatsoever.
Really?
I gotta call you.
How come?
Trying to figure out if it's the hospital or workman's comp. I don't think it's workman's comp.
Cat,
It's a cat.
You guys sign both copies? You guys sign this one too? Did you miss one, Phil? Phil, did you miss one?
Hang on.
Phil?
Well, I just looked at this, she's got 2 payroll warrants,
Cat.
it's the same thing.
What's that?
You got 2 payroll, oh, my, I
You may
see.
have 3 payrolls.
Pardon?
What am I hearing?
cat,
Ah, that's him.
cattail.
Just going with this? No,
No, that's,
that's by itself.
that's by itself, yes. Oh,
I put this on.
yes, that's by itself. That's why I messed up, because there are 2 pages there, not really a paper clip. And that's why they didn't have a paper clip, because they were a single page. And this is. So I have,
So this 1330 from Monahan, that's gonna get we're gonna get reimbursed some of
We
that.
will more than likely get reimbursed for some, I'll say some portion of it. I'm not sure it's gonna be 50, 75, 90%. It'll be some portion of it.
okay, I'm gonna.
Do we have to submit them a bill to get?
They're already slowly collecting all that information. They've spoken to me and we're collecting up, we will be collecting up stuff. Katie's recorder, I have. Dave
You'll have
Barlow,
6 hours.
Everybody, yeah.
I'm
They
still
already
gonna have
know
more,
that.
I didn't get anything done today.
Well, no.
I
but
still got. crap
Did they,
to do.
do we have a deadline or we get an extension?
No, the deadline was Friday, but they were able to get from whoever it was saying that they will take it as it comes.
It's basically
So-
Dinsey Nat from.
Yeah.
Burlington area.
So the biggest, I think, amount, because you guys gotten everything else over to them.
Yeah, most
I'm
everything.
still working on the select board clerk, because there's all kinds of stuff on it, and we're having issues getting it uploaded.
But they have tons to deal with. They're willing to take a rolling thing.
Yeah.
Until basically January 17th. They understand that it's just. You know,
Should we say something about that? Barlow or Deb, do we need a motion to rescind this one payroll warrant, or do we have to do anything with it?
You should be making a notation that the previous approved warrant was adjusted, and I believe at the top of each of those warrants, there is a number.
Yes,
And you state that there's like payroll warrant P00 something, 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 something has been rescinded and was replaced with payroll P00 something, 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 something.
so what she said with the warrant of 22013 is being rescinded and replaced by 22014 as it added payroll for Zach Partridge.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, that's what she said.
And
He wanted to get paid?
do I still sign the rescinded one, or does Scott still sign the rescinded one, or we just leave it the way it is?
Leave it the way it is. And technically what we should do is you can write rescinded on the front of that, and it should be stapled with the revised one, just so that they know, because I initiated the first payroll, which will match with that.
I didn't sign that last week. I knew it was wrong.
And you'll probably want to make a notation too. I don't know if you come to that warrant yet for a Mr. Charles Miller.
Yeah, the Charles Miller one was in there by itself. We need to do tax ones.
You want that one back?
Nope.
Yeah, so we had to reissue that check.
So this
you
is,
previously-
so this one is the same number though for the tax warrant.
What do you mean, same number?
The check warrant report number P1207, it's the same one. For the.
P1207, oh, that's the payroll taxes for December 7th payroll.
Yeah, but I'm assuming there's two here because of that problem.
Yep. Oh, because of what? Oh, yes, 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 yes.
Rescinded one?
And they're the same number, is that correct?
You should have one that's stated for the, yes, you should have one that has like a very large FICA and a pretty large Vermont withholding. Then there should be another one that has like a very tiny FICA and a very, very tiny withholding.
So there's the P1207 dated 12/7/12/7, and then there's the P1207 dated 12/01 to 12/12/16.
Yes.
I didn't know if that warrant report should be different, so, okay. Well,
Nope. I did a separate warrant for his taxes.
I know she did.
So you've got two separate warrants.
Charles Miller,
Yes.
what did we need to do with that one?
Now, that one, the grand list was inaccurate. So we had the assessor's department correct the names that should have reflected on that property has ownership. We issued a check to an invalid name. It's not an invalid name, it's to a name who was going to inherit the property on the death of the person who actually owns it. So we had to void the check, reissue it to the property owner's name.
Okay, so all we had to do was sign the warrant.
Yeah, but you should make the notation because previously you approved the prior check that we had issued to him for payment, which that has been voided and reissued to this one.
Charles Miller is the correct name.
Charles Miller is the correct name. The prior check was made out to Edmund Miller.
Okay, so we changed the Edmund Miller check to be for Charles Miller.
Confirm this one.
Oh, here's your other-
Bill?
Can I put them in here? She wants to sign it.
Up top.
Down bottom.
You just need to vote.
Oh, I make a motion for that. Charles Miller, changing Ed Miller's check to Charles Miller due to that reason that Deb said.
Yep, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'm ready.
Did you make a mess?
No.
No, it did not.
It was a good thing.
Checks are bouncing. All right. I make a motion to adjourn.
A second.
All those in favor? Aye. Hey, Merry Christmas, everybody.
Yes.
Thank you.
Merry
for
Christmas to you.
Thank you for all your hard work in keeping this town somewhat straight.
We try.
Deb, you can figure out the mess of this folder now.
Yes, I will, don't worry.
Can you also work on, I didn't bring it up, on getting any policies that we apparently don't have signatures on? That I'm 90% sure we did sign that meeting.
Yes,
I
okay,
just couldn't find the video.
okay. I actually think they're in the. to be signed file.
Oh, hold on.